Hi guys. Okay, so we're going to see if this is a possible functional way to manage anything. I'm going to zoom in a bit because I think that will help you to see what I actually want you to see instead of my face. Alright, this is the hat with the yarn that my daughter chose for her Christmas present. These are just an inexpensive rubber point protector. They come in different sizes, and these needles are US size 10.5. So I needed, the medium-sized point protector. They don't even make them for ones that are tiny, tiny, tiny. And for those of my friends in Canada, I am looking at this. This appears to say that it is a 6.5 millimeter. I'm going to put my glasses on to make sure, because I know you all work in metric on knitting, on everything, but particularly in knitting needles. Yes, it is a 6.5 millimeter, which is a US 10.5. Okay, now the reason I'm doing it this big is because this yarn, is particularly thick and fuzzy. Okay, see, so there's these little, they look like little witches' hats. They're, to me, let me see, there you go. But they're soft and, see, hand in place, very pliable. Okay, so there's one point of what I've got going on here. Alright, sorry, like I told you guys, my Xanaflex, which is for the rapid nerve firing that causes extremely painful muscle spasming, also makes my mouth extremely uncomfortably dry. And I've tried darn near everything. The only thing that really helps me is to eat crushed ice, which I am at the moment out of ice, because I forgot to ask my husband to go get some last night. Okay, so here we are. These are a 16-inch long circular bamboo needle. Okay, so that means the circular part of it is, it looks to me like clear weed eater cord. I'm sorry, folks. I've been around this planet for a few years. That's just a plastic cording, and it's what we use in our silly weed eaters. And they have found a way to, you see, attach it to, in this case, a bamboo needle. Now, the bamboo is nice because it maintains the warmth from your body. And so for arthritics, it's a very, very helpful thing. So then you've, of course, got your yarn. And what you're seeing here, this bright green, is just a little rubber ring, okay? But it's made specially for knitting, because they come in different sizes. In one pack, you get multiple sizes. They'll come in different color schemes. I always get the purple and green because I knit a lot of purple or teal, and that way I have something contrasting. So what I'm using this for is to mark the beginning of the round. So the beginning of the row in this knitting. Okay. So there's the basic of what you're going to need to start your hat. Now when you go to do your decreases, you will need needles the same size that are straight and pointed on both ends. They're called double pointed needles. They'll look like this on both sides. And when we get there, to that point, I will show you those kind of needles. And in my case, I try to put as few as possible in there. Okay, so I've got my point protector, and before I stopped my knitting, so that my protector doesn't fall off, I did my first 2 knit stitches. Now, to then do, I'm going to push my working side up because that's easier, because I don't knit by watching my hands. I knit by watching TV or talking to somebody. But if you see, my yarn is on the back side here, my working yarn. in a knit position. When I need to purl, okay, let me turn this, there we go. I'm going to pull the yarn around to the front to where now it's on my side, not away from me. So behind is knit, toward me is purl. When you do that, always do it in between the two needles. In between, guys. Not on either side, because you'll get extra stitches. Do it in between these needles. So now that I am in position for a purl stitch, you have legs of the stitches. It's a big loop. Okay? See, it's a loop. Let's get closer. You can see the knit stitch is a loop. It's got two legs. You've got your back leg of the stitch, which we don't need. We need it, but we're not going to use it. And you've got the front leg of the stitch. Okay, now going into it this way, I would be knitting, and therefore my yarn would be on the back. But in order to purl, you're going to come from the back toward you, see, through that loop. So let's do that again. You're going to use that front loop, go from the back to the forward, so it's facing you. Wrap your yarn around counterclockwise. I put a finger or a thumb on the tip of the needle so that I don't drop a stitch. I push it back through, and then I release the old stitch from the left hand needle, and that has made a new purl stitch. Okay? So I have to do that again. There we go. Okay, so now I need to knit again. Alright? So I'm going to take my working yarn and bring it between the needles to the back, the side not closest to me. Go back to bed, baby. And then I'm going to go into the front leg of that stitch, the next stitch, from my side to the side away from me, the back side of the work. And I'm going to, again, wrap my yarn around counterclockwise around my right hand needle, which is what we refer to as your working needle. Tap it with my finger, push it back through, and then take the old stitch off of the left needle, which is holding your work. I have to pause, folks. My grandbaby's up when he's not supposed to be. So I shall be back. Okay, folks, so I'm back. Danny's sitting down again, laying down. So that was one knit stitch. We're going to do the second knit stitch, which again, take your right hand needle, put it on the leg of the stitch that is closest to you. We're going to go from your side to the side away from you through that loop. You are going to take your working yarn, wrap it around your right hand needle counterclockwise, push, and I do strongly advise guarding the needle with your finger or thumb like this, back through to the side that is your side, closest to you, and then release the finger, pull the stitch that you just went through off of the left needle or the holding needle, the non-working needle. Okay? So I'm going to really quick run through this round while you guys are sitting here going, okay. There are 88 stitches on this piece. Right now, I have 6 of those stitches completed. So let's see how quickly I can get through them, because we're at 9 minutes and 28 seconds. And I'm really not looking for speed. I am always looking for accuracy, but I am a generally fast knitter if I ignore my hands. Now, if I watch my hands, it throws me off, and then it takes me forever to knit something. And I do not know why, but that's how my brain works. The only way that that does not apply is if it is sterile knitting, which experienced knitters will know what that is. beginning knitters, please don't worry about what that is. It is my favorite style of knitting, but it's not something that if you're not experienced with it, you should be messing with. I'm making sure I've got all my stitches and the ducks in the right row, right? And I didn't. You see? See? I get to talking and it throws me off. Alright, so make sure I'm where I should be here. Alright, so we got knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, knit 2, purl 2. I had tried to purl a third stitch. That would have messed up the ribbing. So, I'm going to very quickly go and finish this off. All of the ribbing that I have to do, which will probably take me a few hours. And then I will come in when we're going to switch to stockinette stitch. So, yay, I actually did part of a knitting video. I'm excited. I shall see you all in a bit.